Hello, peoples of the internet. Today, I will be comparing what I think is one of the best value for money C-Class vehicles to whatever I can tune to be quicker than it, I guess. If we just look up here, we'll see we have the Audi S4. The RS2 isn't bad value either, but 25,000 for a decently spec'd German luxury car seems pretty decent. And naturally it's the middle of C-Class as well, so if we look at the Porsche, that's 105,000, or the Subaru is 35,000. So overall it's not too bad value. Now here's one I've got that I've bought. If we look round it, we'll see we have a 4.2 litre V8 engine. Not something you expect, given it does just look like a standard Audi A4. The wheels are the only thing that really give it away, and maybe the wheel arches, which seem slightly flared as well. We have a decently sized boot, not that that's really important, and some interesting seat patterning in there. And I think we have chrome around the windows as well. There we go. Signifying it's a luxury car. Yeah. Come on, start the car. We have plenty of chrome bits to remind you it's expensive. No GPS infotainment thing. Probably all the better for it. The less you overhaul cars with computers. Now, I need to find a vehicle that can rival it, so I've looked at a few. Mainly D-Class vehicles. And I'm on the wrong thing, aren't I? Mainly D-Class vehicles. And no, I've just realised I've got to sell something since my garage is full. Just sell something I don't use. Sell this Corolla. Now we can buy our car. Which, if we look through C-Class, I had a few considerations. Come on. Not that many. It's D-Class actually, isn't it, as I said. Just scroll to the bottom. Now that's cheap, but I generally stayed away from front wheel drives like that because I didn't think they'd be competitive enough. So, keeping looking up here, I did find this Subaru Legacy, which seemed like it might be decent. All-wheel drive, turbocharged, should be fairly easy to get power out of it. And then, that's too expensive. Thought it would be cheap for some reason when I came back to it. I briefly looked at that, but again, it's front-wheel drive, so probably won't be quite as competitive as a rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Then consider this Silvia. It's really, really cheap, but only got 202 horsepower, and I believe the tyres max out at 245s. So if I did want to stick massive tyres on it, I couldn't. We have an Integra. That's not badly priced actually, but again, front-wheel drive. We want all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Not going to buy a 250 California. It's 50s technology anyway, wouldn't be as competitive. I could buy an MX-5, but that's not really what I want. 200,000 again. Some of the classics are really pricey, some of them aren't. Now this was another one I considered. Decent power, low enough weight, and it's very, very cheap. And it's naturally aspirated though, which means you can't just easily stick a turbo upgrade on it. It still seems like a decently balanced car as well though. Same kind of thing with this, it's a large V8, much like the Audi. Only I ultimately decided that it might be a little unwieldy and large, and I wanted something a little more precise. So I kept looking. Yeah, that's expensive. The Escort's more than the Audi even. And I found this. And I found this, which I never really liked driving that much. It's a little sloppy and messy to drive. That's a little too expensive. And here's the car. 20,000 for a twin-turbo rear-wheel drive sports car with 276 horsepower doesn't seem too bad. So, yep, I'm getting this one. Just choose a colour. I think I'll go with blue. Slightly unconventional colour for this type of vehicle.
This is your 1994
Come
Nissan
on, hurry up,
Fairlady Z
game.
version S twin turbo.
Alright, let's look around it, see if we can do a full Forza Vista with it. Yeah, if it even lets me on Forza Vista. It wasn't doing that before. So we can't open the bonnet or anything. There's our sticker, twin turbo. Well, not a sticker, I think it's printed on there, but same thing. It's got fairly small wheels. Modern cars have much bigger wheels. Not that I'm complaining. It's a very good performance car for money. Plus we'll get a glass roof, which is always nice. Now we have 5,000 credits to build this car. So if I find a calculator on this phone I conveniently have nearby. We'll see. I'm probably not going to be engine swapping it, but I can get a V8. Yeah, the V8 costs more than the car itself. Plus it's a decent engine. Now I'm thinking I could go with some nicer tyres. How much are they? 2,000. It says right there, but I missed it. Okay. But what can we do in terms of upgrades? 2,900, that is tempting. 456 though. Oh yes. It completely messes up the power delivery, but if I just want power, I could go with the turbos. I don't know though. It's very, very pricey. Too pricey even. I can still get that upgrade though. 5,000 credits. What to do? What to do? That's 2,900 and gets me to 456. Yeah, the camshaft is much better value. So I think I'll go with that. Plus it doesn't mess up my power delivery, which is always a plus. So we've got 25,000 minus 20,000 for the car. Minus 2,900. 2,100 is what we've got left to spend. Now we've got a lot of power, 336. I would go with tyres, but wait, we can afford the tyres. I was worried I couldn't. How much do the tyre whips cost though, just out of interest? They're more. They're a fair amount more. So I think we'll do that. Minus 2,000. Now we've got 100 credits. There may be something I can get for that. They're more. 1,400. 800. I remember these kinds of parts are usually fairly cheap. But not cheap enough. Okay then. It looks like this is our car built, unless I can get some really cheap wheels. No, I can't. It's actually a little bit of a sleeper now. Okay then. Okay, so we're taking the cars to a very wet Brands Hatch circuit in the hope that I can keep them under control. This is a powerful turbo rear-wheel drive beastie still, and I've completely messed it up. Now I'm going to give myself 3 laps to see if I can beat it. Not that I've got anything to beat yet. This is the first car I'm doing. I'll do my Audi next. It handles okay, given it's in the wet and it's rear wheel drive. The Audi should have the advantage here, but I drove it on Silverstone in the wet and it didn't actually feel too great. Felt like the suspension was far too soft. This does grip though. It's not the highest end parts list or anything, but it does have what it needs to get round corners. Also, I found a really ugly bonnet for 100 credits. It saves weight, so I decided I might as well put it on, even if it looks horrible. Thankfully you can't see it from the interior. There's probably someone that loves the look of it, but I just don't like having carbon where the rest of the car is blue. I mean, it would look worse if it was bright red, and the car was bright red and the bonnet was then just carbon. It's more subtle here. Whoa, I should have broke earlier there. Completely messed up. I think I actually want this car to win over the Audi, if I'm honest. 90s Japanese cars are just cool. Big puddle there, best avoid it. Well, I'm braking too early. I'm more scared of this car than I really have to be. It's a nice thing to drive, very grippy, but I seem to treat it as if it's got no grip. It's what I expect from a rear wheel drive in the rain. It's far better than I ever expected it to be though. Power out of here. Could hear the wheel spin, but not much of a worry. There's a big puddle, and it just stabilises itself. Cars like this shouldn't drive this well. Whoa, brake. Come on. Had a bit of a struggle there. Okay, let's see then. Can it set a decent lap time? I'm thinking I could do under 2 minutes quite easily. I really am surprised by the grip this thing has though. I weren't expecting it to grip this well in the rain. Power out of here. Try not to go on the dirt. Come on, under 2 minutes. Oh. Okay, so here we go. Onto our final lap. Let's see if I can pull more speed out of this Nissan. Whoa, bumps. That's not great. Don't want to get your rear wheels, one of your rear wheels on the bumps. I feel like this may have a pretty decent limited slip differential we're working in its favour. It's not open, that's for sure. The way it's putting power down. It's either locking or limited slip, and I think limited slip. It really is doing a great job though. Come on. probably in a higher gear than I should have been there. The gearing's quite long on this, but I'm doubtful it's any worse than the Audi. I built this on quite a limited budget, so I've done what I can. I've done slightly more power, slightly better tyres, and the world's least effective weight reduction. And I've messed it up again, just trying to carry too much speed, but I did get one good clean run out of it at least. So it's not the end of the world. Well, that was a big puddle. It actually reminds me of the Isetta I have. Since there's very close rear-driven wheels on that, it goes through puddles like a motorbike. This does feel like that. And that's no bad thing. This does deliver a lot of performance for your money though, and I think quicker and probably better around corners than the Audi. We'll just have to wait and see about that though. I have more performance points, that's for sure. And across the line. Right, let's see if we can do donuts in my lightly tuned Nissan. Kind of. Doesn't really have the power to donut as effectively as some cars have built. But we'll go and get the Audi now and see how that does. Okay, so let's see if I have too many Audis to sort through. 2003, this kind of era. There we go. Now let's take it to our track, if I can ever remember what it was. There we go. And we're off. First thing I notice is the better visibility out of this car. You can see more through the windows. It's not a low sports car like the Nissan. It's more just a sporty saloon with far too much power. The weight balance is terrible though. One thing I'm sure of is that the Nissan's better balanced. Come on. Struggled on the brakes there. I think the Nissan brakes better, despite being an older car. But then this is heavy. There's no getting around, this is heavy. But then it can't be that much heavier than the Nissan. The Nissan was still quite heavy. Big puddle. All-wheel drive coped with that nicely. This is a big floaty V8 barge though compared to the Nissan. The Nissan was a twin turbo but far more focused than this. Okay, so we're continuing on around this track with very few problems actually. The all-wheel drive is doing nicely, although I don't believe Forza supports torque vectoring, so that won't act in the car's favour. It's surprising how much traction I have here actually. I remember racing it round Silverstone. I did seem to have all kinds of problems putting the power down. Maybe it's just because there was other cars on the track. On its own round here, it feels just fine. And that's one lap down. Better than the first one on my Nissan, that's for sure. Whoa, running it out a bit there, but it's recovered. I need something to say. Where are the words when you need them? Cutting it quite close there across the rumble strip. Just tap the handbrake, that wasn't good. You don't want to tap the handbrake in the wet. Whoa, that puddle's caught me out. But I think I might be able to recover it just about, if I'm lucky. And there we go. Shouldn't have lost too much time in all that. And I need to brake. The Nissan definitely had slightly more impressive braking performance, that's for sure. I just wish this aluminium on the Audi's dash was wood. Because wood is better. I feel like I should be driving with my hazard warning lights on. I am a moving hazard. I don't think this revs as high as a Nissan, but then the Nissan had a camshaft, so that's not surprising. An upgraded camshaft. All cars have camshafts of some kind. Big puddle on the inside there. Good thing I stayed away from that. This does feel like the quicker car though. Oh dear. I can't remember what time the Nissan set, I'll have to check that, but this definitely feels quicker overall. Could just be that you're not as low as in the Nissan. This is probably also a more comfortable vehicle. Feels more isolated. But then it's not really a sports car in the same sense a Nissan is. The Nissan's going to last longer though, that's for sure. 90s Japanese cars go on forever. Come on, Audi. Big puddle brake for that puddle. And that was too early as it turned out. I know you're probably not supposed to brake into a puddle, but that's what I did. I'm just crazy. Turned across this curb. And it wanted to understeer off the track there. Thankfully I managed it. This is a decent vehicle to drive though. Somewhat like the ETK 800 out of BeamNG, which was also supposed to be a German car, and this is less powerful. It is tunable though. I believe you can get 500 horsepower out of this engine without changing the aspiration. Obviously I'm not doing it now because that's not the point of this video, but you can do that. They make great sleepers though. They'll probably just blend into traffic cars when Horizon 3 eventually comes out. And across the line, oh. I broke too early. I thought I was across the line, but I wasn't. Not that it was going to affect my time much. My best lap's 2 minutes 5:40. Last lap, I think I did a 2 minute 5.500 specifically. That's an interesting time. Does this Audi want a donut? Oh, somehow I've smashed my rear light. Not sure where I would have done that. Seemed like a fairly clean one, unless I went on the sand, and sand shouldn't smash a light, should it? Whoa! Donut went too far. It will donut, but it's not quite as eager as the Nissan. The Nissan would donut if you just spun up the wheels. But it was a performance car at its heart, this. It was a barge at its heart, and they've made it perform. Let's drive into the pits the wrong way and see what happens. Just turns around. Yeah, no, it stayed in the pits, hasn't it? No, it's not. It's actually sent me out the pits. Thought for a moment it was going to just keep me in the pits forever to be mean about me. My 2 minutes 5.5 lap was actually a clean lap as well, which is interesting. Same thing happened with the Nissan. My good lap was the tidy one and not the one where I went on the dirt at all. Okay, so join me in a moment for the conclusion.